All right, hey everybody, it's the Rob from 106.1 KISS FM here with my tag team partner in podcasting. Please welcome to the show from beautiful State College, Pennsylvania in the Big Froggy 101 studios, the Ramblin' Man, Jerry Valeri. Good morning, Jer.
Happy birthday to you.
Not necessary, thank you.
Happy
Please,
birthday
hey, Jerry, you're singing. You got to stop singing, please.
No, this song is public domain. We're allowed to sing this one.
I heard it's not public domain.
Fine, then I'll do what they do at those dumb restaurants. Happy birthday, happy birthday. We're glad that you're having a birthday today. Happy birthday for you. Hey, good for you. We got not big bad life choices. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday.
Thank you. Okay, that's enough. Thank you. This is ridiculous. Thank you.
I forgot the singing role. I can't sing to you on your birthday. Come on.
I was told even the birthday song specifically. So whether it's public domain or not, which my understand, I don't know. Whatever.
How old are you now? I've lost track of both of our ages.
Okay, I'm 34 today. Technically at 11:25 tonight, 11:35, I'll be 34.
Oh boy, so you were almost a June 9th baby.
Yeah, I was almost June 9th. I was about 25 minutes away from making June 9th. And I thought you were 4 years older than me, but then I found out I was wrong. So you turned 40, didn't you?
I turned 40 in September.
Okay, all right, that's what it was. So, cool.
And also, and this day, we've never done a podcast on this day, so we can finally explain to people just when I make a joke about pooping on Rob's bathroom floor on his birthday, that's a real thing. That really happened.
That was my birthday, 2005. So I guess it would have been my 22nd birthday.
You were upstairs in your apartment. You were having a great time because you had gotten Alice in Chains CDs. I think you had gotten a DX DVD set. You were ready to rock and roll. And SNL, you got an SNL DVD set.
My mom said, sorry, I can't be there with you on your birthday, but have $100 to buy whatever you want to. And just kind of was like, I had a credit card essentially. And she was like, just go buy whatever you want. So I went, I bought a DX, good memory. It was a DX DVD set that had just come out. It was, there was a SNL DVD set. It was like the best of Will Ferrell. And
I remember because we watched that after I got done pooping all over your floor.
So Jared comes over and it was really funny because you had forgotten it was my birthday. You had just left work. You want to tell the story? Or do you want me to tell it?
You can tell, but I had just left home. I was at Bellwood. I was 40 minutes away. And I didn't have a bathroom.
The way I remember it was you just left work and you said you regretted not pooping at work, but maybe I have this wrong.
You just have it wrong because I was coming from Bellwood. So it was like a 40-minute drive where I had to poop the whole time.
Okay, so you couldn't make it to work.
I couldn't make it to work. I wasn't going to make it.
And Jared he called me and said, hey, it's your birthday. Can I stop by and see you real quick? Which is like a nice gesture. And I'm like, yeah, come on in. The door's open. And I was upstairs in the bedroom and I was the only one home. And the real reason Jerry was coming by was not to celebrate my birthday, but because he had to take a dump. So, before he comes upstairs, he goes to my downstairs bathroom. I didn't even know he was in my house at the time. And he had to poop so bad that he didn't make it into the toilet. And
when I bend at the waist, one of those where I have it locked in, and then when you bend at the waist, you've got to be aimed. And I wasn't aimed.
So Jerry wasn't aimed, in his words, and unloaded all over my floor as opposed to the toilet. And then what's actually kind of funny about the story, or maybe sad, or this is the sad state of my apartment life at the time, I did not realize this had happened until June 8th the next year, when Jared's present to me was sharing that story from the year before, and still one of my favorite presents I've ever received.
Yeah, you enjoy that story. That's a good story. And what a great way to start the podcast today on your birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Speaking of great presents, I got a visit from Steve this morning. Thanks, Steve. He got me a whole bunch of Mario Hot Wheel toys, like the whole set of them. If you can see,
Steve is one of the best gift. It seems to me like he's one of the best gift givers around.
He's just a great guy. He's an awesome friend.
Yeah.
And Steve, I'm
so
sure
generous.
Thanks. And check this out. Look what else he got me.
Oh, so that is awesome.
Check that out, right?
That's awesome, and it makes me happy because right around the time where I pooped on your floor and when we were really hanging out a lot before you moved to Montana, Kurt Angle was a wrestler we watched every night on Raw, and you and I really enjoyed him a lot those times. So that's a cool shirt.
Yeah, no, and well, listen, this is my number one favorite wrestler, and this is number two. It's true. So, Steve, thanks again, bud. I appreciate that. We've got two things we need to accomplish here today, Jer. The first thing I want to do is announce the winner for the WWE Raw ticket giveaway. And I want to transition that into a conversation about awesome finishing moves. And I think I've got a great way to do this. So I want to let people know how the winner is chosen for the ticket giveaway, because I don't want anyone thinking that favorites have been played or anyone got loved or ignored or anything like that.
We don't want any crybabies. No crybaby.
Only people who I've been dealing with that all week too. Or at least the past day. I'll tell you that off. So here's what we do. We asked the question in the video last week. You guys saw it, and then I wanted your favorite finishing move in the comment section of the video, and got a lot of responses. Thanks everyone for watching, and thanks everyone for posting. Only people who have not won tickets in the past 30 days from Kiss FM were eligible. So everyone who else was eligible got a number assigned to them. And then there's random number generators, and it doesn't matter how many times people comment, each person gets one number. The random number generator chose a number, and that number corresponded to, make sure I get this right.
Do you want a drum roll? Are we allowed to have drum rolls?
Yes, you can do a drum roll if you want. I want to congratulate Crystal Gail Lawrence. So not one of the post shows, but I mean, there's a lot of people who watch the show and don't participate on my personal Facebook page post show. Don't know if she's a regular watcher or just watched for the tickets. No matter what, I hope you continue to watch Crystal. I want to make sure that everyone knows Crystal's answer. Crystal's answer was the Razor's Edge. And I have to say that's a great choice. I'm really upset, Jared. As I told you off the air, I have made a list before of my top 20 favorite finishing moves. And I intend to find...
And I know you with lists. When it comes to lists, you put a lot of time into them.
Correct. It's my official list, and I meant to grab that for today's episode, and I forgot. But it's okay. On a future episode, probably on Tuesday's episode, I will get my list, and I will give my official top 20 ranking of finishing moves. But I think I know my top 3, or at least my number 1.
Do you remember if Razor's Edge was on it?
Razor's Edge is definitely in my top 20. And so, like I said, Crystal, I don't know if you're a regular watcher of the show. Not familiar with you, but that's totally okay. You won, and I want to let people know, I believe we have another pair of tickets to give away on Tuesday's episode with the same kind of giveaway. So here's what we're going to just know. Here's the one thing. So remember, you can't win from Kiss FM within 30 days. So Chris, I know Chris won tickets on the radio. Crystal just won tickets. You guys will not be eligible. I still encourage you to participate. We'll have another question. Don't know what it is yet. And I also want to let you know that the winner will be announced Thursday again, and that show is on Monday. So you need to be able to pick your tickets up on like Friday or Monday. I'm assuming wrestling fans will be able to do that, but still, you'll need to be able to, you have a limited window, but just so everyone knows, expect another pair of tickets on Tuesday's episode.
Awesome. With another question, and I'm already thinking of, because if the questions generate conversation like we're going to have today, I'm gonna really love these games because I've been excited to talk about favorite finishers. It really got me thinking, and I like some of the answers we've seen already.
Well, one thing that like I was able to do with Steve and Eric was we didn't really watch SmackDown back in those days. So usually our last episode of the week would be a topic, and I love doing topics. So it's nice to be able to squeeze one back in. So
yeah, we never get to do topics, so this is good. Do you want to just start by us saying what our favorites are, or do you want to go through and look at some of the answers other people have?
I want to do that. I want to do that one last, if you don't mind. So I just got a message from Steve. Steve reminded me that on the birthday episode last year, he asked me what my favorite finisher was, and so maybe it won't be a surprise to many people. So I'll get things started if you don't mind.
Yeah, that's fine. It'll surprise me for sure because I can't remember, and I'm curious to see if your favorite finisher lines up with your favorite wrestler.
Okay. So here's the deal on this. It is definitely still the same answer it was a year ago, and I also want to say I put my list together before it was cool to love this finishing move. Now there are T-shirts about this finishing move, and it's a much bigger thing than it was 5 years ago when I originally made my list. Officially, my answer is the Diamond Cutter, but I also obviously include the RKO. This was before RKO out of nowhere was a phrase, and to be honest with you, when I put the list together originally, DDP was my favorite person who could pull this out. And it's not the way that it's not, I should say, it's not just the way the move looks. It's the interesting ways it worked into a story of a match. It was when it would come out of nowhere. It's the way the different ways you could do it. There were so many great things that made it so explosive. There are so many memorable ones, like the one when he turned on Scott Hall with the NWO, or the best one. God, if I had to pick a favorite one, and you might not even remember this, Jared, but it's the La Parka one. Do you remember the La Parka one on?
I don't remember the La Parka one. I think of Diamond Cutters were great. I think more about the RKOs that I liked, like the one on Seth Rollins at WrestleMania was great.
Sure.
Yeah. How did the La Parka one work out?
So calling it the La Parka one's a bit facetious, but that's how everyone remembers it. So I'll do it real quick. DDP is in a heated feud. They're deep with Randy Savage, okay? And Randy Savage is having a match with La Parka on Nitro. And La Parka is actually kind of he's holding his own against the Macho Man, which is kind of surprising. And then out of nowhere, as they say, La Parka delivers a picture-perfect diamond cutter on Randy Savage. And DDP takes his mask off, or La Parka takes his mask off, and it's DDP. Feel the bang. It was awesome.
That's awesome. I don't remember that, but I love swerves like that. That's so good.
It's like, having
DDP, I always felt like DDP was very underrated. Even when he got his championship runs and stuff, he still to this day doesn't seem to get all the credit that I thought he deserved.
I agree, although he's getting there. I love that he's still relevant with his yoga stuff and the resurrection of Jake the Snake stuff, and he's stayed alive, so to speak. And I grew to appreciate DDP through time more so than when he was live. But I always appreciated DDP. I always liked him. So
I think that's awesome. So yours is the Diamond Cutter, but it's more famously known by Randy Orton as the RKO.
One the same. It's the same move. So yeah, it's the Diamond Cutter / RKO.
But you prefer it when DDP did it.
I think the Diamond Cutter is a better name.
I emphasize that because I ran into the same issue.
Okay.
Version of my favorite finisher ever is made famous by one person, but I prefer it by another.
May I take a guess?
You want to take a guess?
I'm surprised. I would be really shocked if this is your answer, but I feel like your description can only mean one move. If it's not the Diamond Cutter RKO, I feel like you have to be thinking about, oh boy, I guess it could be several things. The one that's jumping out to me, though, is the Sharpshooter / Scorpion Deathlock.
Mine is, when people think of a frog splash,
Oh,
Eddie Guerrero.
sure.
And Eddie Guerrero delivered a frog splash like nobody's business. It was awesome. I've always preferred the 5-star frog splash. It just seemed more impactful.
Dude,
and I've always been just a huge Rob Van Dam fan. And so I'm saying my favorite finisher of all time is the 5-star frog splash. And that was tough because right behind it, I have something that's such a close second, but that's definitely, I have like a favorite aerial and then a favorite submission, you know how you do it, but
Sure.
5-star frog splash.
Great, by the way, great choice. We have such a funny RVD story, I feel like. We should share this real quick.
Go ahead.
So it's July of 2006. Jerry and I and another one of our friends, John, we went to, it was actually a great show to go to. It was a super show. So it was a Raw and SmackDown taping in Philadelphia. Raw was live and SmackDown would have been the 4th of July. So they didn't tape it that day. They taped it right after Raw. So we got a Raw and a SmackDown. Actually, I'm trying to think, did SmackDown tape first? I don't remember.
I think it might have. I'm not 100% sure, but I just know that I was excited about Rob Van Dam being there because he was the main focus.
Rob Van Dam was the world champ at the time. And earlier that day or week, when he was traveling to this show, he was in a car, I believe with Sabu, and got pulled over and arrested for possession of marijuana. So the title got taken off of him the show that we were at. We saw, do you remember who won the title? I do.
Go ahead. You're so good at that. My brain is shot.
So I believe it was a triple threat match. Rob Van Dam.
I was in the car. I was in the car with him and Sabu, so I don't remember.
So it was a triple threat match. It was Rob Van Dam defending the title against John Cena and Edge. And
they gave it to Edge, didn't they?
The one thing that the crowd knew was that Rob Van Dam was not retaining because he got caught with weed earlier that day or week. So it wound up going to Edge. We saw Edge win the world title from Rob Van Dam in Philadelphia. But my favorite thing, though, about this story was, to poke fun about the story, Jerry made a sign that said, "I sell RVD weed." And my stepdad, Chip, was watching us. He walked by when we made these signs, and he saw Jerry's sign, and Chip said, "What's RVD weed?" as in like if it was some sort of new drug, and he honestly thought Jerry was dealing a drug. I thought that was such a funny line. I still think I laugh about what's RVD weed.
It's really powerful stuff. It won't make you lose your memory, but it will make you lose your title.
So that's a great choice, Jared. Do you want me to read some of the other submissions we got on the Facebook?
I'd love to hear them, and then I wonder if anybody's going to say anything that I considered.
Okay, going to mention a few here. I don't have my glasses on, so bear with me. Why did my phone should be silent? No, nevertheless. All right, here we go. All right, Mike put a few down. Let me remind me to do Mike's last so we can talk about his. Chris wrote, as a kid, my favorite was the excellence of execution Bret Hart when he locked in the sharpshooter. Man, obviously, as someone who's currently wearing a Bret Hart shirt, I can relate to that.
Is that your favorite submission hold?
Honestly, probably not. I think my favorite submission hold is the crossface chicken wing. Just
okay, mine's the crippler crossface.
Yeah. So one thing I love about the sharpshooter is I spent most of my life, at least I'd say from 11 until Bret Hart's book came out, thinking that Bret Hart invented the sharpshooter and Sting stole it. I love that in Bret's book he admit that he saw Sting do it on TV one time and stole it from him.
Well, it takes a big man to admit that.
Yeah, Brett's book is awesome if you never read it. Steve said, I'd have to go for the power bomb, and no one did it better than Psycho Sid / Sid Vicious. So I saw that one of Mike's was the power bomb, the jackknife power bomb from Diesel. Steve's saying Sid, and I got to be honest with you, they both have great power bombs. If I had to pick a favorite between the two, I would go Diesel's jackknife personally. Sorry, Steve. However, two other guys who did very memorable power bombs include Chris Jericho and his double power bomb, which we shouldn't forget about. And then there's Kevin Owens, and his pop-up power bomb is pretty awesome too.
I really love the pop-up. I you know, they can't be in the same conversation yet. Jackknife. The jackknife, Psycho Sid did a great power bomb, but he did a power bomb, and it was awesome. But
yeah, emphasis on the power.
Yeah, but the jackknife, you're up, and it just seemed more brutal.
They made it really seem because Diesel's big gimmick was his height. And they just, with the camera angles and the way they'd replay it, it just made it seem like he was falling from the top of an elevator shaft. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. You know who else I think? I just got a message from someone. They said their favorite power bomb was done by Mike Awesome.
Oh yeah, he's had some great ones too. Yeah, so there's some great power bombs.
Power bomb you out of the ring through a table.
If your name was Masato Tanaka, that's what he would do. So yeah, let's keep going here. We got a bunch of good stuff. Jennifer's another post-show regular. I'm enjoying Jennifer's contributions lately. Jennifer says, for me, it's hands down Eddie Guerrero and the Frog Splash. Jerry mentioned he's a big fan of the Frog Splash, but prefers Rob Van Dam's.
And that's not to say that Eddie Guerrero doesn't murder it. I mean, he's so good.
Yeah, I mean,
but everyone talks about his Frog Splash like RVD doesn't do one, and I'm like,
I think on this one I'm on.
He's better. He's just not dead.
It's really close, but I think I'm going to be on your team personally. I think I like if nothing else, just the name 5-Star Frog Splash makes it stand out because it's just fun to say those words.
And he always acted so hurt after he did it.
Acted. I bet he was acting. I bet that hurts.
Yeah, acting. Because when he did it, it was usually an ECW, and he had a chair laid across Sabu's leg, and he was doing 5-Star Frog Splashes on the kneecaps covered in chairs.
Don't worry, Jared. They know how to fall. Benny says, Benny's is actually, I think, if I go back to my list, I think Benny got my number 2. Benny said, Old HBK and the Sweet Chin Music.
That's a good one.
Again, one that could come out of anywhere, and I loved it eventually. I hated that they called it Tuning Up the Band. I thought that sounded lame, but it was
I love that.
It looked cool. I don't mind that he did it. I didn't like Tuning Up the Band. It just sounds so wussy.
Right behind that, how about Sweet Shin Music by Mankind?
I believe was that Mankind? I remember that being specifically Dude Love.
Yeah, Dude Love did Sweet Shin Music. I wonder if anybody's gonna get my number 2. Let's see.
All right, we'll keep going. If we don't get to it, remind me and I'll ask you. John says the Stone Cold Stunner. Surprised it took this long to get to the Stunner. You know what, man? That's a great choice too. So many great memories and so many great feuds with the Stone Cold Stunner. Great choice.
It was never my favorite move, but it always led to some of the best moments on Raw. Like when the entire McMahon family ends up stunned, he just starts stunning everybody. It's hard not to love that move.
Or sometimes you get guys like Vince who didn't know how to take a stunner. And they wind up all over the place, or I also remember Rock would sell a Stone Cold Stunner the way a dead fish flops around or a dying fish flops around. The stunner was definitely special.
Remember the one where Triple H takes a stunner and then he's standing there, he's dead on his feet, and then he takes another one. I think that's.
Or maybe when he'd give you a stunner after he gave you a beer and you'd have a mouthful of beer and you'd spit it out mid-stunner. There's so – I mean, these are great. This is why I love wrestling. Just talking about these things are great. Nicholas, favorite finisher would have to be the Diamond Cutter. Great choice. Okay, and then he
Great
says his
choice.
favorite submission finisher is the angle lock. Another great choice. That's what's great because Ken Shamrock did an ankle lock. And it would look devastating, and I'm sure it was painful. But then when Angle would do it, Angle would be selling the pain his arm was in from putting your ankle in this position. Like Angle brought it to a whole different level, I feel like.
Absolutely. And the fact that he was an Olympic gold medalist, it just added to the fact that when he gets you into a hold like that, you're never getting out of it. The angle lock I thought was awesome.
So then, yeah, so you'd have Ken Shamrock. He'd be like, like this and looking all tough, and I've got your ankle lock. And then there'd be Angle, and he'd be like, and it'd be awesome. And then he'd even start he'd grapevine the legs. Remember that when he would do the angle lock?
Yeah.
So
that's what I want from a submission move. I want it to look like everybody's dying. I want it to look like the person in the hold is getting murdered and the person putting them in the hold is actually uncomfortable with how badly they're hurting the person. And that's why I like the crippler crossface. Let's not get into a whole Benoit discussion, but when he put that on you, that was bad news, and it always looked like it was killing people.
Another great submission. I'm not sure which one I prefer between the sharpshooter or this one. I feel like they always went hand in hand. Don't know if anyone's going to say it. And I liked it before it became an every match thing because it's become one of those DDT type moves that you just see it so often now. But just back when Ric Flair did the figure four, that's my favorite move in real life to apply. I like when your friend lets you put him in a figure four.
Yeah, mine's the DDT. You mentioned the DDT, and I thought about it. I was like, boy, if we went to old school wrestling, when Jake the Snake hit you with a DDT, it was lights out. And I'm sure there are better, dirty deeds now, and everyone does a DDT, and DDTs are not finishers usually. He gave you a DDT, he literally knocked dudes out, and I thought that was pretty awesome.
Yeah. Let's keep going here. We've got Crystal. This is not the Crystal who won. This is a different Crystal. Favorite of all time, Superfly Splash from Jimmy Superfly Snuka. His athleticism at his age was amazing. That's a good choice. Kind of like a precursor to a Frog Splash, kind of. Good stuff there. Mm-hmm. Rebecca says the Red Arrow. You know what, Jer? Even though that's a very modern one and people kind of scoff off the modern stuff, the Red Arrow, I will never forget. My favorite moment, I would say the thing I remember most from the last SmackDown taping we were at here in Evansville, what I remember most was Neville performing the Red Arrow. It was awesome.
It's awesome to see. When we saw Neville recently, he's heel Neville, and he teased the Red Arrow and then refused to give it to the fans. And heel move. And I was like, oh. Hey, so I didn't get to see it.
How long has it been since State College, Pennsylvania has had a Raw?
State College hasn't had a Raw for years. So many years. 10 years, maybe, more than.
Oh,
I think
really?
You were at the last Raw we had. We did not have a Raw that you haven't been
to. I can't believe that.
We had there was a time when State College was a main loop. We had Raws, we had SmackDowns, we had a Thursday Thunder, but we never had a Nitro.
Interesting. I feel like there had to have been a Raw taping more recently than that, but if you say so, okay.
A lot of house shows, though.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see here. The curb stomp, Joseph said from Seth Rollins. He said it was so graphic and brutal. Yeah, I mean that one was so devastating they had to ban it in real life.
Right.
I always liked watching it, although I felt it was unsafe.
Super unsafe, but fun to see.
Good choice there. Brian says Jerry the King Lawler and his pile driver. Another one that's
old school.
Another one that's been banned.
Thanks to did they ban that because of Owen Hart, or were there other examples?
Well, I mean, it was way after it that they banned it, so I don't think that specifically, but that doesn't help anything when you break the biggest star in the company's neck.
Right, that doesn't help.
So, all right, what's next? Got a few more. Rachel Rachel, I like. You know, it's kind of simple and old school, but I mean, would you not get fired up to see Randy Macho Man Savage and his flying elbow drop?
Oh, when he'd get up there. Boom. That's the one I did the most off of my couch as a kid. I would lay all the pillows out and I would do the Macho Man elbow.
There is Tony who
buddies.
Yeah, that's right.
Our wrestling buddies took so many elbows.
Which one?
All the wrestling buddies, they took so many elbows.
As long as it's not the Lex Luger wrestling buddy, right, Jer?
Right.
I have some weird off-brand Lex Luger wrestling buddy. It looks nothing like Lex Luger and scares Jerry's nightmares.
I did not like that Lex Luger thing. I put it in the hallway.
Tony says the code breaker from Chris Jericho. And we'll mention one last one. Tabitha writes, education.
Okay. You wanted to end on I think you wanted to end on Mike's. You wanted me to remind you about Mike's.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'm surprised no one has said my number 2 yet.
I want to take a guess at your number 2. Okay, let's see here. Mike writes, favorite overall move, jackknife powerbomb by Diesel. Okay, I'm going to go through. Favorite submission is the Lion Tamer by Lionheart Chris Jericho. And one thing that's worth noticing, and I think Mike would appreciate me mentioning this, he is not talking about the modern day submission that Jericho does. When Jericho was in WCW, WWE eventually banned this version of it, but Jericho would get you like on your head and neck, and he put like his knee like in the back of your neck / shoulders, and it looked awesome when he did it back that way. The only reason he stopped
looked awful.
It looked very painful. It was a great
so awful. It looked like it hurt so bad.
It was a great variation of the Boston Crab, so good call there, Mike. Favorite tag move. Hard to beat some things like the 3D and Total Elimination from the ECW days, but I've got to go with the Doomsday Device. I would probably pick the 3D over the Doomsday Device for me personally, but no one said a tag team, so I can get with that. Favorite aerial move. Some of the newer stuff is Crazy and Dangerous. Kurt Angle's moonsaults. Okay. It looks like he's. I don't think he got specific there. And then just for Jerry, my favorite deathmatch move is the VCR to the face by the Necro Butcher. Can I guess?
Bang! Yeah.
Because there is one that to me is a glaring omission, and I'm going to throw one more out there. And if it's not yours, feel free to wrap up with yours. The one that I cannot believe has not been said, I think, is my number 3. And my number 3 is the pedigree. Is that the one? Okay,
That's
good.
the one. I love that move. He puts that in, and now I'll say this: I think a lot of people stayed away from it because, in a way, I think personally, and I might take heat for it, I think Seth Rollins ruined it. I think Seth Rollins using the pedigree, I never liked it. That's Triple H's deal, and when he puts the pedigree on somebody, it's good night, and it was always awesome. Whether it was Hunter Hearst Helmsley or DX or Motorhead version of Triple H, whatever you saw when he did the pedigree.
I want to say the reason no one said it may have something to do with Seth Rollins taking it. I just feel like there was a point, maybe about 10 years ago or however long it's been, but there was a point where Triple H jumped the shark, for lack of a better term. It just became uncool to like Triple H. And it's still kind of, the fact that he's the boss didn't help anything. And I just feel like giving him praise is kind of not cool anymore. I feel like that's where we're at here. But listen, I'll say like during the Attitude Era, Triple H was my favorite. I love Triple H. And the pedigree.
Mine too.
The pedigree was lights out, man. Pedigree meant lights out.
I've always loved Triple H. He wasn't supposed to be as over as I think as he got. And, it might not be cool anymore to love him. But there was a time, you're right, in the Attitude Era, he was the biggest face because of DX or the in a non-traditional way, or the biggest heel. Like when he brought out the sledgehammer, that dude was bad news. I'm also surprised the Tombstone pile driver.
Boy, that's a really good one. Absolutely.
No one mentioned Tombstone. Tombstone and Pedigree and Sweet Chin Music were three I thought for sure people were going to throw out there. And we only got one of those three.
Yeah. Everyone's got their own thing that they like, and that's what makes, like, I love the power bomb discussion because, like, just look at this. It's the same move, just the different flair that every guy puts on it. It's awesome. That's why I love wrestling, man. It's this. How does everyone not love wrestling? I don't understand.
Yeah, and they're crazy. They're drunk.
So, just want to say,
I know the answer. They've been smoking too much RVD weed.
that could probably be it. So Tuesday's episode will be special. We're going to have a Raw recap and another ticket giveaway, same kind of deal. So be watching for that. We may be able to do 4 episodes again next week. I don't exactly know. No, it won't be 4 for sure. There's no pay-per-view. So yeah, the next few episodes all have something. They'll have something special. We'll have a Raw recap and the ticket giveaway on Thursday, we'll probably be able to get a SmackDown review. And then maybe a bonus episode next week to get for the ticket giveaway. And then on next Monday, we'll have the Monday after next, we'll have a review of the pay-per-view. Which one is it? It's the Money in the Bank. And then Tuesday, we'll recap the Raw here in Evansville that a lot of the viewers would have gone to.
I'm excited to watch that one and look for you because you're going to be ringside, I hear.
I don't know where. I'll be somewhere in the first 5 rows. So don't know if I'm camera side or what. I don't even care. I'm just there to have a good time. Sorry you couldn't make it down for it. I wanted to go with you.
I know there's so much going on over here, but I wish I could have because I wanted to go to that one. I haven't been to a Raw forever. I haven't been to a Raw, and I haven't been to a show with you for a very long time.
Yeah. All right, well, listen, bud, a great episode. Thanks again for making it happen. And like I said, we're in a real exciting time. We got giveaways. We got bonus episodes. We're going to have a review of a show that a bunch of us were at. So, I mean, it's an exciting time to be a viewer of Post to Post. Congratulations again to Crystal Gail Lawrence, who I'm going to Facebook message here in just a few minutes. And congratulations, everybody. I just peace and love.
More important than all of that.
Hey, thanks, bud. See you guys later.